All right, everybody, we're back with a brand new Cabral concept. This is episode 3179 of the show. If you'd like to follow along with all of the questions from the community here today, head on over to stephencabral.com/3179. All right, I'm going to open up the document from my team, who so graciously puts these questions together on a weekly basis, and I will find where we left off. Again, we answer all things wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, high performance health on the weekends every Saturday and Sunday. So feel free to submit your questions. Submit them every day for same-day answers at cabralsupportgroup.com. My team handles all of those and will get you all the answers you need based on 3,178 previous podcasts. And also, of course, I'm happy to answer your questions live on the weekend show. And that just means your question takes about 10 to 12 weeks to get to. But as always, we will make sure that we continue to deliver this service for free well into the future. All right, so let's get started. It looks like Stacy's up first. Stacy says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. What is your opinion on low-dose ketamine? I know you spoke of it briefly a year or so ago, but on not daily low dose, and at that time, you were still researching between ketamine and psilocybin. What have your findings been? I'm considering low-dose ketamine for severe sensory overload, anxiety, and now depression because it's robbing my life. I've been working on root cause, doing protocols, detox, etc., and have improved a lot, but that just won't leave me and by far the most worst of my symptoms. I tried SSRIs and my body doesn't like them at all. On Xanax now just to barely function and refuse to go up on dose per my doctor, wanting me to increase dose to help. Hoping your research can help my decision. I'm in California and I don't think psilocybin is legal here." Okay, so happy to help. Just always keeping in mind that I can't provide any legal and medical advice, diagnostics, treatment, or medical cures. So here's what I can do though. I can give you real world information that I've seen from my practice, and we work with so many people all over the world. And that's the nice thing is that, yes, of course, I'm always reading the research, and that's a personal passion of mine. I love research, I really do. But the nice thing is I really get to mix this with real world experience, seeing probably close to 100,000 labs a year. So here's what I can share with you. I've done a lot of research on this, and from speaking to many individuals and listening to the experts, because I'm not an expert on psychedelics, I can tell you that ketamine and psilocybin do seem to be the most approachable. Lots of research on them, dating back many decades on ketamine and a good decade to two on psilocybin. So for ketamine, this is how I've been told, and this is how I've researched it as well. It seems to be a good option for short-term relief. So there are ketamine clinics. Find a good one, of course, reputable, good success stories, and you will go in for anywhere between 3 to 8 treatments. You really don't want to do just one. It seems to be it works better when they find the right dose for you, and you're doing multiple over a few week period of time. Sometimes they're even in clinic stays for a couple weeks. Okay, so that's ketamine. And I have no issue with ketamine at all. And it actually seems to help quite a bit of people to just quiet the noise in your head, right? And so I get it, totally understand that. And I think it can be highly beneficial for people. And so just under, good medical supervision. All right, now let's talk about psilocybin. Psilocybin, whether again, I'm not going to give legal advice here. There are places that you can go all over the country and all over the world. Psilocybin is more of a longer term approach, meaning that it seems to really rewire the brain. And that is something different from a lot of these other psychedelics. Not all, like other ones, which we can get into in the future, which I'll talk about. But psilocybin seems to have tremendous benefit, and it is one that I can absolutely, again, not every case, but recommend it for many people under good quality care. And I can't tell you exactly who to see or who to go to because that would be more medical-based advice. But usually psilocybin needs to be a larger dose, and it is done for 1 or 2 treatments. And it can often have effects that get bigger and better over 6 months. And it has been very helpful for people with addiction. and post-traumatic stress disorder and many other issues, childhood trauma. So they both can be great. Now, in terms of low-dose ketamine, I've seen that work with certain individuals, but typically they have a full ketamine protocol done over a couple weeks, multiple times, and then they maintain with a lower dose ketamine. So hopefully that was helpful. That's the most honest answer I can give you. And like I said, I think that we can use these things wisely. They're not a part of my personal practice, but that also doesn't mean I can't recommend them, right? I don't personally do acupuncture, but that doesn't mean I can't recommend it, okay? So, all right, Audrey's up next. Audrey says, hi, Dr. Cabral. I try to avoid plastics whenever possible, but sometimes they are hard to avoid. What about local honey at the farmer's market that comes in plastic bottles? Or drinking chilled water out of a plastic insulated thermos? I know leaching is terrible when the plastic is heated, but curious if the plastic doesn't get hot if it's just as bad. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, these are great questions. So here's the issue with plastic. Like, this is the big issue. So, because I agree with you, you get a plastic water bottle, it's lightweight, you can carry it around, et cetera, et cetera. All right. When UPS, FedEx, UPS, etc., UPS, USPS, deliver these packages, they're on trucks. And the back of them, especially in the summertime, get to 120 plus degrees. So this already starts the leaching process. Sometimes they're in warehouses that are not climate controlled. We use climate controlled warehouses, but it's also more expensive then to store your items. So, that's the issue, is that they kind of come preheated. Now, after you wash them out in not boiling hot water and use some soap and water, all of those things, yes, there's absolutely less leaching. There's no doubt about that. So that's kind of like the best that we can do. And I agree with you. Now, the honey from the local farmers, honestly, this is what I would do. I would say to them, if I were to give you a dozen small mason jars, which, by the way, you can get them on Amazon for like $9.99 with lids, you can just say, like, if I wanted to buy X number from you, could you bottle mine in glass? And they may. Like, farmers markets are the best place to actually speak with the people, because they are there. They are not these massive corporations. And if you're saying, listen, I'll buy 12 bottles or 6 bottles, could you bottle them in glass? I really believe that they'd be okay with that, because it's just not ideal. It'd be like getting olive oil or your fish oil in plastic. It's not good. Yeah, it's just not ideal. It's not ideal. I would absolutely, for that one, I would go glass. And for chilled water, yeah, I'd still go with like a stainless steel water bottle. I know Ecolife's going to be doing a giveaway in a few weeks. If you want to check out the new stainless steel one coming out, it's free. What else? Yeah. Yeah, I understand though. I get it. I use a glass water bottle and it has a neoprene sleeve around it. So I understand where you're coming from. But honestly, like, I'd be remiss, or I'd be lying if I wasn't saying I don't use some plastic. Yeah, of course we use some plastic. Plastic is everywhere. And so it's not like I don't use some plastic. I just try to use absolutely as little as possible. That's my goal, but none of us can be perfect. All right, Anonymous is up next. I tested positive for an STD called ureaplasma, which is known to cause PID and infertility. I've taken many rounds of antibiotics and it has not gone away. I'm also experiencing mild symptoms of urethritis, which this is known to cause. I was wondering if there's any natural treatments for STDs or urethritis. I am also wondering if taking biofilms with the next round of antibiotics could be helpful. Okay, yeah, great question. So happy to help with this, work with people in my practice with this as well. Again, I can't give any medical advice. Usually the ureaplasma is gone after using antibiotics, and then there's no worry of the infertility, etc. So I get it. Yours is not responding to this particular antibiotic. Sometimes doctors use different antibiotics, but then you have to be careful, because then they start to use stronger and stronger and stronger antibiotics like Cipro, which is like really dangerous. So what do? This is what we do. We do the CBO protocol with citracidal drops for 3 weeks. You can just write into Cabral support group if you want for help on that. And that's what we do. So that's internal. And then externally, we use coconut oil with a couple drops of tea tree oil, especially, all around assuming this is a woman asking this question. It has to be. So vaginal area. So we would do that. And we would also use boric acid suppositories. And it has the word acid, so it sounds dangerous, but not. But again, everything has to be whether you feel it is right for you. I have a lot of podcasts on boric acid suppositories. Basically, you just get vegetable capsules. They even sell them now. And it's just a powdered boric acid that gets put in there. And then you would insert that vaginally. And then we also use then Lactobacillus acidophilus to basically rebalance the vaginal flora. Some women also decide to use a garlic suppository. It's literally a clove of garlic. So you just peel the wrapper, the natural wrapper of the garlic, but you keep the white on the garlic. You don't peel it down to the green. And obviously make sure there's no burning. And many women use that for group B strep, as well as things like ureaplasma. So, and not for a long period of time. We're talking about 5 to 7 days. And then you use the Lactobacillus acidophilus suppository, and you can continue with a little bit of coconut oil as a salve. So that's what we've used routinely, and it's actually worked quite well. So wishing you all the best with that, and we're happy to help how we can. And then the CBO protocol includes the biofilm disruptor. So agreed with that. Okay. Sarah's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I just read your article on alkalized water, and I was wondering if there is a home filter you'd recommend. I have a small filter under my house and need to replace it. I looked at the AquaTrue under sink, which looks great, but is there a good option to have for the whole house alkalized filter? Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of like different things we're talking about. So for anybody who hasn't read this, I highly recommend it. I really did a deep dive over the last 18 months on hydrogen water, alkalized water, proper pH, et cetera, et cetera. Quoted 30 different clinical studies. That's at stephencabral.com/hydrogen-water. There's a small opt-in. We're not going to send you anything crazy. Just understand that. But the things that we put on that page, which usually had like no landing page, we couldn't publicly state, even though that they're true. Anyway, I always want to give you the unfiltered information. That's the truth. And so you literally just enter your name and email and you get all of that information. And I show you all of my testing videos. I prepare and have showed all of the science. And then I give you my recommendations. And all great companies, of course, like AquaTrue, et cetera. So a whole house filter is a great thing. The issue is this. It is super expensive. We decided not to put one in our house. And here's why. We use a shower filter and we use the under the sink filter, and we hook that up to our hydrogen ionizer. If you do a whole home filter, it needs to also have an alkaline end filter before it starts to go through the house. If not, the water is actually slightly acidic. And what I found was it can start to erode your pipes. So we have to be careful with that. So if it ends alkaline, when I say alkaline, it just means remineralizer. All you need is a remineralizer to add more minerals back, which then balances the pH. Then you don't have those issues. So there's so many great companies out there. There's one called Prescription pH. They were at the Reimagined Health Summit last year. If you mention my name, maybe they'll give you a deal. We don't have a particular partnership with them. But I also say, look in your local area as well, because it's a big undertaking. Like these aren't small tanks. These are big tanks to be able to use, because it filters all of your water on demand for your shower, for your baths, for your cooking and dishwasher and your everything. So everything needs this water. So you need big holding tanks. If not, it just doesn't work. So hopefully that was helpful. But yes, everything is on that page. And yeah, there you go. Those are my recommendations. Okay. Cindy's up next, and looks like last question for the day. Cindy says, thank you for your generosity in sharing your knowledge so freely. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. I'm always looking for safe alternatives for anti-aging and beauty products in lieu of injectables, etc. Are you familiar with Procell? Procell uses microchanneling along with topically applied serum. According to their website, Procell's microchannel delivery system contains bone marrow-derived growth factors in a hyaluronic suspension. Both these elements are naturally occurring in the human body. There are no human, animal, or plant cells, DNA, or other foreign substances. Seems strange because they just said bone marrow-derived growth factors, but there's no human, animal, or plant cells, DNA, or blood. So that seems like That seems like an oxymoron. It seems contradictory. But anyway, the products have been used safely and effectively for over a decade. How does one determine the safety of a product like this? I value your opinion. Is Procell therapy safe? Is microchanneling safe? Yeah, so here's the thing, and I've talked about this on a previous podcast. I have not done this yet. I say this every year, so you're probably laughing right now if you've been a longtime listener of the show, but I'm really going to take skincare seriously next year. So I laugh because I say it every year, but I really mean it this year. I'm trying to really mean it. I'm going to start in January after the Reimagine Health Summit's over. Maybe I'll start in December, but I'm going to do, I come from a long line of tired eyes. Like that's just the way that it is. And the older I get, and the older anybody in my family gets, the more tired the eyes look. And that's just part of it is the laxity, like literally the muscles and tendons under the eyes, they become more lax and they actually then start to droop a little bit. And that has nothing to do with, anything honestly, except for that is genetics. It really is. Like my grandmother had it, my mother has it, I have it. And so it's just some of us we get it and some of us don't. And it's all good either way. But I did say that's, it's like I'm gonna work on this. Because again, if I can make it happen, well, certainly someone without my genetics is going to get great benefit as well. So I'm going to do gua sha and I'm going to do micro needling. Micro channeling is basically the same thing as micro needling. That actually enables then stem cell production. And you don't need to go super deep. I've got all sorts of podcasts on this, but micro needling for your hair, I did to help regrow my hair. I mean, I was looking back at the photos because it was like, it was shocking to me at the time. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be honest. It was shocking when I lost half my hair, during the pandemic time. But anyway, I'm not going to go deep on that. But I use microneedling then on my head, and it works. So microneedling with a little microneedler at home that costs you like $10 absolutely does work. And then you can put any serum on top if you want, or your own hyaluronic acid, your own niacinamide, your own. What else is a great one? Vitamin C or retinol, any of those that you like, you could use. Now, is theirs also beneficial? Very well could be. But the micro needling can be done by anyone and doesn't have to be super expensive. So this very likely could be a great product. I don't know anything about it. I also don't understand though how it can be bone marrow derived, but then not contain any human or animal based substances. But again, I just might not be thinking of it off the top of my head, and that's okay as well. So hopefully today's answers were helpful. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I'll be answering another 5 to 6 of our community's questions tomorrow. Have an amazing rest of the day. I'll talk with you then. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.